When the days are getting longer and the sun is shining brighter, I start itching for spring to get here already. And that's when I start to bring in some of my favorite spring home essentials. Keep watching so you can find out exactly what those are. Hey, it's Kim. Thanks for joining me on today's video. It seems spring has finally sprung. So with that comes a lot of freshening up that I like to do around the home. Aside from cleaning wise, with, spring cleaning, like getting the carpets and rug shampooed, getting the drapes dry cleaned, all those other good things, there are also some things that I like to do to spruce up the inside of the home that really don't cost a lot and also really don't require a lot of energy out of me. So in my book, that's a win-win. These are all things that signal the vibrancy and freshness of spring for me. Top of the list is iced coffee. I know it sounds a little odd because it's not specifically home related, but it kind of is because this is where I drink it. Anyway, iced coffee is number one on my list, and that's because during the winter months and the fall months, I really do not like cold beverages. So when spring starts to come around and it starts to warm up, that's when I'm craving iced coffee like none other. And my favorite way to make it is to prep an iced coffee concentrate to keep in the refrigerator so that I'll have it on hand at all times. And because of that reason, because I might want it late afternoon or anytime during the day, sometimes I'll make a batch of decaf iced coffee concentrate and a batch of caffeinated iced coffee concentrate. Making this iced coffee concentrate is super simple, and I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. This is also known as a cold brew concentrate. So to start, you're going to take 2/3 a cup of your coffee grounds, and then you're going to mix that with 3 to 4 cups of filtered water. The amount of filtered water you use is dependent upon how strong you want your concentrate to be. In the end, we're going to mix the concentrate, the fully prepared concentrate, half of that with half of your other liquid, which could be water or milk. So it's going to be a half and half ratio. If you want a really strong cold brew concentrate, you would go with the 2/3 cup of coffee grounds to the 3 cups of water. If you just want a regular cold brew recipe, I would say 2/3 cup of coffee grounds mixed with 4 cups of filtered water. And once you have those two mixed together, I like to give it a nice stir just to make sure that all of the coffee grounds are fully saturated. Once that's done, you're going to cover it up and let it sit for several hours. Typically, I like to let mine sit for about 8 to 12 hours, so I will usually do this the night before I want to have it ready for me. Once you reach the next day or at the end of your 8 to 12 hour waiting period, next you're going to strain out all of the coffee grounds. I'm using a French press in order to do this because I feel like it's a one-step process. It's pretty simple for me to press the plunger on the French press to strain out all of the coffee grounds. Easy peasy. But you could always use a colander, maybe one of those nut milk bags also to strain out the coffee grounds. Whatever you have around to make sure you get a nice strained cold brew concentrate. And here I'll show you how I typically prepare it. Like I said, I'm going to take half of the concentrate, mix that with half of my milk of choice, which is currently oat milk. And this is poured over some ice. Stir it and enjoy. Of course, you can add sweetener if you like, but it's really simple to whip up whenever you're in the mood for a nice cup of iced coffee. It doesn't take a lot to do. It just requires that you let it sit in the refrigerator overnight and then you're all set. The next thing I like to do is clear the air, quite literally. I really like to make sure I get the air inside the home purified, clean, and clear as possible, or at least as clear as my mind thinks is possible. I don't know. But the way to do this is you could definitely buy those air purification machines. I'm sure we've seen them all over the place. You can buy those, and those really do help to clear out the air, especially if you are allergic to some things in your home or you are sometimes bothered by allergens that can be in the air. Air purifiers are a huge help. But along with that, just cracking some windows and making sure you get great ventilation throughout the home is sometimes enough to really clear the air and get the airflow going and to really purify your space. Another thing I like to do is use an Effusion lamp. And I believe I spoke about this in a prior video a long time ago. But this is a lamp that is reported to purify the air. It uses alcohol and it purifies the air, but it also leaves a nice scent in your home. You can actually do it or run it so that it doesn't leave a scent at all also. And it will purify the air for you. Using an Effusion lamp is pretty straightforward. You pretty much are mixing alcohol with a fragrance, if you so choose to add a fragrance, and allowing that to burn into the air to purify it. I'll leave a few links down below explaining more about Effusion lamps, how they work, and you can do a little bit of research to decide if this is an option for you. Here I'm showing how I typically will set mine up. The key to this is that you need to allow the wick to sit in the liquid for a little bit of time so that it soaks up all of the mixture that you have inside of the lamp. So I'll normally set it up in the morning, come back in about an hour or so, and the wick will be thoroughly saturated and the lamp will be ready to light. When lighting the Effusion lamp, it can be a little bit intimidating because there's a pretty big flame that sparks, of course, due to the alcohol content that's inside the lamp. You would allow this to burn for about 2 minutes or so until the stone that is on top of the wick gets fully heated. Once it's fully heated, the flame will usually die out on its own. Once it gets pretty low, I then go in and just blow it out myself. And then I'll put the ventilated cover on top so that the alcohol can continue to burn off into the air and the stone is protected from anyone touching it. And I'll usually leave this out on my dining room table, normally in the center, but I have some plants there at the moment that I didn't feel like moving, but I'll leave it out on the dining room table. And it takes a few hours for the mixture inside the lamp to burn off and to filter throughout the air. And as you can see, I didn't fill my lamp all the way up. I just did it about 1/3 of the way because I knew that I didn't want it to burn for a long time. Like I said, I did mention it in a previous video, but it's so good that it deserves to be mentioned again. Changing of the seasons and freshening up the home also means bringing in new throw pillows and blankets. Sometimes I will pick up a new one here and there if I'm out and about, which lately I have not been. But sometimes I'll pick up a new one and that helps me to freshen up the space, brighten it up, bring in something new. But also what works just as well and is free 99 is to actually freshen up the ones that I already have. I like to use those at-home dry cleaning kits that you can normally get on Amazon. I like to use those to freshen up any of the blankets that I have that can't be laundered in a traditional washing machine, and the others I throw in the washing machine, which we do every few weeks anyway, but having them freshened up, smelling good and nice really helps to freshen up the house for spring. I think we all can agree that we probably have a few laundry secrets up our sleeves to get our laundry smelling exactly the way we want it to smell. And I especially do for throw blankets and pillows that I have around my house. I like their scents to carry for a long time. So there are a few things that I like to add to the wash to make that happen. Starting with some OxiClean or oxygen bleach powder to help make sure that the fabrics are thoroughly cleaned and cleansed. Also going in with a really nice fabric softener that smells great, along with a really good quality detergent. And then I top that off with those fabric softener scent beads, of course, because that is probably the key to making sure that the scent carries for a very long time. And then, as I mentioned, for the blankets that can't be thrown in a traditional washer, I will get these Dryel dry cleaner sets so that I can launder them in my own machine at home. I believe Woolite has a version of this, and there may be another one on the market. I'm pretty sure they're all created equal. And the basic premise is to make sure that all of the stains are removed from whatever you're laundering. And then you add these sheets to a dryer bag that helps to capture the steam that you need to really thoroughly clean the fabrics. It's pretty straightforward, and I do recommend them for items that you cannot wash at home and for items that you may not want to take to the dry cleaner. After I put this blanket through the Dryel cycle, I also pulled out my lint remover. It's like a fuzz remover that takes off all of those pills of lint that are on the fabric. I think it's called a fabric shaver, actually. I'll link it down below for you. Next up on my list is fresh flowers. And for some reason, I never think about fresh flowers, especially not in the winter. When it's cold, I just don't think about bringing in fresh flowers. But as soon as the sunlight starts to last a lot longer throughout the day, I immediately need to have fresh flowers in my house. And luckily enough for me, my husband knows this. So that's when he starts to bring fresh flowers home if he sees them whenever he's out and about, and I'll do the same. And grocery store flowers work just as fine here, but I like to have a nice bouquet of flowers maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks in the home, and as they start to wilt, I'll cut them down, put them in different vases around the house, and use them in that way to freshen up the space. And if you're fortunate enough to have flowers on your actual property, you can just go out and pick some without spending any money in order to bring that spring feeling inside your home. And the next telltale sign of spring approaching, or that spring has already come, is when I freshen up things with a nice coat of paint. I actually haven't done it just yet. Spring just started. Give me a little bit of time, but I do have some plans to freshen up the paint in my home. And this could be as minor as maybe touching up the paint on the moldings, baseboards around the home, or actually changing the color of a wall if you need to, or if you feel so inclined. That's actually what I plan to do, because there's a wall in my master bedroom that has been unpainted for about a year. I have the paint, just haven't gotten around to doing it. So that's what I'll be doing this spring. Those are my top spring essentials for the home this year. Drop me a comment down below letting me know what you like to do to usher in the spring season into your home. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.